promised land, they were so busy trying to get there that they forgot to stop and spend some time investing the children, to circumcise the children, to maybe mentor the children. Maybe sit down and have a conversation with and not at the children. God told Joshua before you go to the promised land, you have to circumcise the children, because the children grew up in the wilderness, and the children don't know nothing but dysfunction. The children don't know nothing but gunshots every night. The children don't know nothing but liquor stores and check cashing places. Now you have to circumcise the children to enter the promised land, because they don't know nothing about what y'all talking about. And if I have to say anything tonight, I would say I think that's the first thing we need to do to move Stockton forward, to give birth to King's Dream. We have to circumcise the children, because the circumcision, I asked my pastor, I said, Pastor, what does that represent in the Bible? How can I translate this to Stockton? And he said, circumcision represents a purpose. It represents being set apart and knowing that you're here for a reason. I don't know about y'all, but I go to schools every day, mentor young people all the time, and a lot of them have no purpose, have no hope, have succumbed to this prevailing spirit of nihilism. And the reason why is because the elders have not stopped yet to circumcise them and sit them down. That look, we're going through some tough times now, but we shall overcome. We did it 50 years ago, we did it 100 years ago, we haven't stopped yet to circumcise our children. And one thing I love about Dr. King is that he was a lot better than I am. Because I'll complain all day, and I'll tell you everything that's wrong. I'll research stats and facts and back it up and double check it and compare it to other countries. But King is so popular because he didn't say, I have a complaint. He didn't say, America's jacked up. He didn't say, Stockton is bankrupt. He didn't say, our kids can't read. That's a complaint. King had a dream. He recognized the status quo was failing, but he was able to articulate and imagine a better and more just world. We celebrate King not because he had a complaint, not because he understood America was messed up, but he had the vision and the foresight to understand how to articulate a dream of a better community, how to articulate what a better Stockton would look like, how to move from point A to point B, how to remove the violence. When we talk about nonviolence, King was nonviolent because he understood how to move from potential to production. He understood that in all God's children, there's an innate potential to be a city council person, to be a reverend, to be an artist, to be a singer, to be a judge, to be a doctor, and that his purpose on earth was to circumcise the children so they were able to reach their potential. And I know you gave me 30 minutes, but I'm almost done. In my office at work, there's a poster from the Civil Rights Movement. And it says, come, let us build a new world together. It said, come, let us build a new world together. And that's what we have to do in Stockton. What we've been doing is not working and will not work in the future. I'm going to say it again. What we've been doing is not working and will not work in the future. And the problem is Stockton is so big, it's going to take more than one dreamer. It can't just be Michael Tubbs, Assembly Member Eggman, Councilmember Holman, and School Board Representative Sarah Cazares who articulated a dream. For Stockton to really move forward, it's going to take every single one of y'all here to stand up and say, hold up, wait, this is what I want for my community. This is what a reinvented Stockton looks like. This is what a dream looks like. Because if we can't articulate a better community, if we can imagine something better, if we can include all sectors of society in this process, young, old, black, white, Asian, Latino, there's no way we can change the city. If we can't imagine and dream a better and then articulate a better, there's no way we can change. So a better Stockton for me is a community where all children can reach their full potential, a community where children go to high-quality schools, where teachers are given the support they need to help kids escape cycles of poverty. A reinvented Stockton for me is a place with economic opportunity, of growth. A reinvented Stockton for me is where we give jobs to people who may have felony records so they can get back on their feet. A reinvented... Y'all don't feel me, though. So as I prepare to close, I just want to invite you all, like the words of the old civil rights leaders, to come. Let us build a new Stockton together. Come. If you about Dr. King's dream, if you really want to honor and celebrate the legacy of Dr. King, if you're really about social justice and civil rights, why not start on the front lines? Why not start on your block? Why not start on your friend's block? Why not? Because the thing is, I could see, Miss Lloyd, if the problems were hidden. I could see if we did not know what streets we should be at right now. I would see if we didn't know that Phelps Street, Pilgrim Street, Scribner Street, Conway, Sierra Vista. Oh, I could see Lewis Park. I could see if we didn't know those places existed. But the fact that we know that they exist and we still don't do nothing, I'm confused. I'm confused. I can see if the problem was hidden. I can see if we, but even on the way downtown, you see it. On the way here, you saw homeless people. You saw young people on the corner with nothing to do. So it's not hidden. So I guess my question is, what is it going to take for us to wake up? What is it going to take for us to stop dreaming, stop talking about what we could have did and what we did in the 60s, and stop romanticizing what Dr. King did? Because Dr. King was a workhorse. Dr. King worked. Dr. King was in meetings. Dr. King was working with people. Dr. King was researching. Dr. King was reading. Dr. King was not about Dr. King. He gave a great speech called the Drum Major speech, and he said, I've won over 300 awards. I get to speak at places all the time. I was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I was on Time magazine. I got all the presidents on my speed dial. I could organize thousands of people like that. And he said, but when I die, don't talk about none of that. He said, if you're going to say anything, say I was a drum major for peace. Say I was a drum major for justice. Say I was a drum major for Montgomery. Say I was a drum major for America. And I think in Stockton, we need some drum majors. No, let me backtrack. We have a whole lot of drum majors. We got a whole lot of people. I'm sorry, because I get the emails, the Facebook, the text messages, the tweets, and the angry voicemail. We got a whole lot of people who want to be Dr. King. So if you want to be Dr. King was a servant. Pick up a mop. Listen, pick up a broom. Go walk a dangerous neighborhood. How about this? Let's start with mentoring one person. If everyone in here mentored one person, we will have a better 2013 to 2012. Mr. Jordan, we've been working at Franklin High School in the mentoring program. So if you're about King's legacy, see him after this and figure out how you can connect to what's going on and circumcise a young person by mentoring them. Mr. Jordan, please raise your hand. And then please let me know how many people come after you afterwards. What's going to happen is, 6 months from now, Michael tells you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and I have this great idea for changing Stockton, you don't want to meet with me, and you too busy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to say, well, I give you the opportunity to work with me after my old high school to help mentor. And I talked to Jerron, and none of y'all clapped, y'all was happy, y'all at church, y'all gave offering. But then I told y'all want to mentor, here's the opportunity to mentor. And no one did. And so in the next year, I'm going to come back up here and say the same speech. Well, last year I was here, and I talked about King's Dream. I'm going to run out of speeches pretty soon. So as I prepare to close, it's an incredible opportunity to be alive in Stockton for such a time as this. If you want to go down in history, change a block in Stockton. If you want to be a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., change a street. Change a life. Let's start simple. Change a life in Stockton. If you want to be a civil rights leader and icon, continue the work you're doing, but do even more. If you really want to pay homage to this man who had a dream and put his body on the front line of sacrifice, when we do our night walks with ceasefire, which will start in a couple months, be there. If you really want to be about Dr. King's dream, when we have a call for mentors and you see a young person on the corner, talk to him. If you really want to be about Dr. King and his dream, get up, get active, get involved. Ministers of Community United. There's a whole lot of stuff in the community, and people always complain it's the same 10 people who do it. And I used to complain like that too. It's like the same, well, I see him everywhere. He's on every committee, every board. But on the other side, I realized that the same 10 people volunteered. That the same 10 people go the extra mile. That the same 10 people give up their time. So I'm saying, you guys have sign-ups? Another opportunity. You want to get involved in helping Stockton? Ministers of Community United and the NAACP. How about this? On February 9th, The NAACP is having a youth summit. If you're really about change in Stockton, bring 5 young people there. 5. Black, white, Latino, Asian, bring 5. And then while they're there, stay with them, and then afterward, ask them what they learned. That's February 9th? And how many people are here? It's like 100 people here, so there should be at least 500 people there, right? Okay, because then what's going to happen? They're going to go home, forget. And then a year from now, when Stockton's still not as perfect as it could be, I'm going to get them on yell that. They're going to be at the city council being like, you were supposed to be Dr. King. They gave you the government award, and you went to Stanford. You had a nice purple tie on. Like, you didn't do your job. No, I'm doing my job. I'm doing all I can do, but I'm one person working. All right, so as I conclude for real, I just want to conclude with a parable that Dr. King used all the time that's really reflective of what it would take to make his dream a reality. Thousands of years ago in Jerusalem, there was a man walking down the road. And as he was walking on Jericho Road, he was jumped, he was mugged, he was beat up. I'm sure some of us in here, maybe that's happened to us. He was mugged and beat up and left for dead on the side of the road. And then a priest walked by, saw the man on the side of the road, and said, you know, I'm about to be late for church, I gotta go. Then another holy man came by, saw the man by the road, and he said, you know what, I can't touch you, that's gonna make me unclean. Then maybe a politician was on the road and saw the man and was like, you know what, I gotta immediately go, you know what, you don't vote, or you know what, you didn't donate, so I gotta keep it moving. And then maybe a school teacher went by and said, you know what, you're not in my class, you know what, I'm tired of you bad kids, you know what, you ain't gonna be nothing anywhere. And maybe the absent father walked by and said, you know what, I ain't got time for kids right now. And then maybe a grandparent on the block who saw the young man struggling walked by, and so all I know, this young man was on the corner of the road, left to die. But then a good Samaritan came by, got off his high horse, got on his knees, rolled up his sleeves, got some bandages out, put some bandages on his wound, took him to a hotel room, paid for his food, paid for his room, and then left. And King used that to talk about what it really takes to change society, to change a city, to change a block, to give birth to his dream. And he said oftentimes we're like the Levite, the priest, the holy man, in that we ask the questions, if I help, what happens to me? What happens to my time? What happens to my priorities? What happens to my reputation? What happens to my dreams? What happens to my award? What happens to my validation? Because you see, there wasn't cameras there on the side of the road. There wasn't a big press event. There wasn't anything sexy. There was no documentary crew. It was just a man on the side of the road. But King said what was so tight about the Samaritan, he said, if I don't stop, what happens to the men? I'm going to say it again. The other 3 people said, if I stop, what happens to me? King said, if I don't stop, what happens to the men? If you don't mentor, what happens to the young people? If you don't get involved, what happens to your city? If you don't speak up, what happens to policy? If you don't want to make change in your community, what happens? And the thing about the Jericho Road, it's so powerful that towards the end of his life, King said, you know what, I glamorize the Samaritan too much. Because as soon as he helped that one man on the road, guess what happened? Another man was beat up and left on the side of the road. And that gets tiring, Miss Lloyd. You know your scholarship program. You get one kid a scholarship and then someone else drops out. You give one kid a scholarship and someone else drops out. So King talked about the need too. Once we help the individual needs, let's figure out how do we restructure the whole Jericho Road. Because he said the way Jericho Road was structured, it was conducive for violence. It was conducive for bad things to happen to people. It was conducive for kids not to read at grade level. It was conducive for 71 homicides. He said, so let's help the small stuff, but then let's come together collectively and figure out how do we restructure the Jericho Road. So as I conclude, Stockton tonight is Jericho Road. We got to do the individual things. We have to help each one reach one. We have to do that. But we also got to figure out how in the world we're going to restructure the Jericho Road. So on February 7th at 6 o'clock, I'll be at Dorothy Jones with whoever wants to come and figure out how do we restructure District 6? How do we reimagine a better District 6? How do we imagine a better community and invite you all to come be there? In the interim, sign up with Jerron the Mentor, sign up for Mentors and Community United to get involved. And thank you all so much. God bless and happy Martin Luther King Day. Woo!